Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist, and I'm glad you could join me for this episode. I am so excited. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I have Reverend Valerie Hummel LaBounty. You might recognize that name because she is going to be the next pastor here at First United Methodist. So welcome, Valerie.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes, I've been waiting to have this episode of the podcast. As soon as I knew who was coming, I was like, I'm gonna get her on. So I thought that today would be a great opportunity just to sit down and visit with Pastor Valerie a little bit, get to know her a little bit. For some of you, you may have known her as she was growing up, but she's been away from Yankton for 16 years now? I've done the math correctly.
Like that?
Yeah. And lots of has changed in that time. And then there are plenty of you that she is a new person. So I thought, why don't we get to know Pastor Valerie just a little bit? So would you like to start off with just kind of, they got a little pamphlet on you, but maybe share a little bit of your own background, kind of, and in particular, what you've been doing the last 16 years.
Yes. So I graduated from YHS class 2010, and I went straight to Dakota Wesleyan University, where I spent 4 years studying religion, philosophy, psychology. And then I went to seminary at Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary, yes, in Evanston, Illinois. And I got my Master of Divinity there, and I graduated in 2017. And then my first appointment was Southeast Peer United Methodist Church and Community Center. And so a lot of what I did there was I led worship, I was the pastor, but I was also part-time like community center director. So they had a weekly free meal for the community. So I helped a lot with that, a little bit of like grant writing, fundraising, supporting the community and their needs in that way. And I was there for 2 years. And then in 2019, I was appointed to Montrose United Methodist Church in Montrose. And I have been there ever since. And that was it is still a wonderful, beautiful experience in church. And they were a wonderful fit for me. And I have mixed feelings leaving, but I am excited to know, I'm sure you're feeling similar. I'm excited to like see what the new pastor brings for them because I love them and I care about them. And I'm just excited to see where God is moving them next. So now we're in 2026. Here we are. I guess in that time too, I've been married. I got married in 2015.
All right. Yeah.
My husband said yes. So we've been married. We'll be 11 years this summer. And we have 3 beautiful babes. My oldest is Esther. She's 4.5. My middle is Althea or Thea. She's going to be 3 very soon. And then Junia is 8 months. Yes. She's our youngest, 8 months.
So a little baby.
She's almost walking. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing? You were too little. But
when that third one starts moving, it's a problem because you have one going this way, one going this way. And then when you have the third one wanting to go their own way, you've run out of, people to chase.
Yeah. Or like the toys, like we're having a lot of learning we have small toys on the ground. We need to pick those toys up so that Junia doesn't put those in her mouth. The girls are learning. We're all learning together, I should say.
What's funny is that we've been learning that in our house in the last 6 months because of the dog. My kids have been leaving toys and I'm like, if you leave it on the floor, Tyson will get it. And so similar, but very different. But it goes right in his mouth too. So yeah. So maybe if you would be willing to share a little bit about the names for your daughters. They're beautiful names, but I have a feeling there's some good stories for those.
Yes. So Esther, she is named after the biblical figure. I've always liked the name Esther, and I think Seth also always liked the name Esther. And so that was our first. She was we didn't know she was going to be a girl or boy when she was born. So that was a fun surprise to name our firstborn Esther, the name that we loved. Althea means healer in Greek, and her birth experience was a very healing experience for me. And so we chose the name Althea. And I think there's a very biblical connotations in that she's named after a meaningful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Junia is named after one of Paul's friends from Romans 16:7, I believe. And poor thing, third girl. We just like the name. We think it's a pretty name. I think it
Yeah,
means
it is.
like useful or something like that. But she goes by Junie or Junes, or Esther called her, oh, the other day, Junie Tunes, like Looney Tunes. I thought that was amazing. So she gets called whatever, and yep,
So good.
she's everybody's baby.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I think those are great names, and I love that connection and the tying in of how names connect to you've got daughters who can hopefully live into these incredible role models that they have for their names, and then that experience of healing, that's really beautiful.
Yeah,
Uh,
their middle names are all matriarchs in our family too. I don't know if I feel comfortable sharing that in an online
no, that's totally
way,
fine.
but they are all matriarchs from our family.
What we'll say is if you'd like to know their middle names, ask them when you get to meet them in person. That can be a good topic of conversation.
Perfect.
um, yeah, we also didn't know that Ben, whether he would, when he came out, what he was going to be. And we were on the way to the hospital, and the short list of names that I had, I didn't like any of them. And I said, Jason, I don't want to name our kid any of these. I want to name him Benjamin. And Jason went, okay. So
Okay.
that's how that one
You're,
happened.
yep. You get to make
Uh,
the choice. Yep.
Ethan, we just knew that one early on. And then Abigail, we really struggled. It was like 2 days before she came, and we were down to two names and kept going back and forth. But Abigail is the name of King David's second wife, and it describes her like he was really impressed with her, and she was really competent and really intelligent. And I was like, that seems like the kind of person I'd like my daughter to be. So
I love that.
yeah, so I think names, you don't realize how much you have to say those names. So you really have to pick things that you love to say.
Yeah. Yes.
But I love also that you're coming in with three kids as well. And I would say that for me, motherhood has shaped so much of my ministry, and that things that I see, that I notice, that I've cared about, has really come out of my role as a mother as well. And so I'm excited that to have you come and also have that sort of viewpoint just built in already. Um, to,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like I am being a mother like completely changes you physically,
Mhm.
emotionally, in a lot of different facets. So I feel like I'm a much more empathetic person, and I feel like my kids have just made me a better person in general.
Yeah. And it's been so important to me that kids feel like church is for them too. And
Mm.
so that we've done things here that have been toward that end, right? Of not only like fidgets and things in church, but we put the playground in the parking lot, and it I was just talking with some people with our 605, which is our children's program, and and they talk about how much kids really feel at home here, that this is their church too. And I said, that's exactly what we want. I mean, like, sometimes chaos comes with that, but I would much rather have kids feel like this is a safe place for them and a place where they're wanted and loved, and a little chaos, than kids who feel that church is just a place to be afraid. And so I love that. So I also want to talk just really briefly. Your first appointment in Pier, I think that's a really unique appointment. That I and I I'm just curious what sort of things came out of that you got to take with you into Montrose and that you hope to take with you as you come here to Yankton. Because yeah, that was, I mean, a really missional type appointment.
Yeah. And to have it be my first appointment too, I think was its own thing. I won't say it, kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
um, but I definitely learned more tangibly God's inclusive love and the ways in which people embody that and the ways in which people um, yeah, learn that, experience that for themselves. Um, Literally being the hands and feet of Christ every single week at the banquet or in other areas. It's just a lovely, lovely thing to be a part of something that people uplift in the community as like a thing to celebrate. We do this every week to serve our community because we love our community and we care about
Mhm.
them and we want to share God's love with them.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like putting sort of like the Matthew 25, whatever you do for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you've done for me, that this is who we are and this is what we're about. Um,
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. And you're coming, and you know from being a part of this church, you know, growing up here, that there is a real ethos around this is a church of doers. These are
Mm,
people that um, you know, I think the reputation is, you know, the Methodists will do it. Like, you know, like they're the ones that want to get dirty and get in there and serve and be useful. And um maybe Junia will fit right in actually, right?
there you go.
um but I love that you have that as part of your background and bringing that experience and that knowledge base in, because I think that is something that has been articulated many times here of a value that this church has around um, investing in the local community, right? That our mission field is here and that there are people who are in need and what can we be doing? And so like the Loads of Love Laundry Mission, and we have a banquet too, but we're not the ones serving it every week. But I think that's a wonderful asset you have coming in, and to be able to build on that and expand that is really cool.
Yeah, thank
So um, I want to do a few rapid fire questions for you, just for people to get a little sense of who you are, what you like. Um, these are going to be real make or break sort of things. You're going to be able to tell, you know, is she our kind of people or not, based on how you answer. So no pressure, no
you.
pressure at all. So we'll start. What is your favorite food?
Oh gosh. I have eaten so much good food in my life. Um, but if I have to like just rapid fire, probably just like a cheeseburger, greasy cheeseburger, pickles, ketchup, mustard, cheese curds.
You lost me on mustard, but so here's the things. Shockingly, mustard has become such a big talking point lately, because
Oh,
we've been doing parables in my Tuesday class, and we did the parable of the mustard seed last week, and everyone's been teasing me because I hate mustard. So you have a pastor coming in who loves mustard. So all those
yeah,
mustard things that you have been holding off because you're like, Pastor Katie's not going to eat that. Look it, you can make it again.
here we
Beautiful.
go.
Actually had a cheeseburger for lunch today, but I put barbecue sauce on mine. So
That's good too. Mhm.
yeah, that's solid. So if someone were going to try to get on your good side and bribe you with food,
Mm.
like show up at your office,
Mhm.
what should they bring?
Listen, you know, Grandma Carol, ice cream. Bring me ice cream.
Right.
Cookie dough blizzard or like
Ooh.
something with like chocolate peanut butter ice cream, chocolate
Mm.
malt, some Culver's. Yes, thank you so much. Or a coffee if it's like morning, if it's before 10 a.m. A coffee, plain latte would be fine. Thank you so much.
Are you a Scooters? Are you a Starbucks? Are you like a Muddy Mo's local coffee shop connoisseur?
Um, I do frequent Starbucks, but I
Okay.
do love local places, so I'm not gonna be picky if someone's bringing me coffee.
You've heard it here. I hope you were taking notes. If you want to get on her good side right away, these are the things you need to know. All right, what now you just got back from a big trip, but my question is, what is your favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot? Oh my goodness. These are supposed to be rapid fire. These are hard questions. Um, it's hard because like there's my favorite place that we've, visited,
Hmm.
a very restful place. Like if I'm thinking I'm going on vacation to rest, I'm going to the Black Hills.
Right? Yeah.
I've been there before and I can just enjoy the beauty outside and putz around and do whatever I
Yeah.
want. Um,
Restorative.
yes. If I'm like wanting to explore and enjoy like a new place, like I do love traveling to new places. My favorite place I really liked the UK, like England, Scotland, beautiful places as well. So I don't know. I hope I answered that question, but I
And
just like
you
to
just
travel.
you just took a trip with your family and your kids to
Yes,
Europe,
yeah,
which
we went to London and Paris for the purpose of Disneyland Paris. The girls did great. It was a fun trip.
that's
We
awesome.
survived and lots of memories, and it was a lot of fun.
I am not, we just took our kids to the Black Hills last summer, and that was our first big vacation with them. I don't know that I would be brave enough to take my kids with me to Europe yet. Maybe if I put leashes on them, it would feel better.
One was like strapped in. One was I was
Yeah,
wearing one, so that helps.
yeah, right. There you go. Uh, no, that's really, I mean, I love traveling too. And I've never been to Disneyland Paris. So I was in Paris when I was in college. It was the only time I've been there. But all right, we've already talked about favorite ice cream. So look at you. You already, here's the next one. Favorite Bible verse, which as a pastor is an incredibly difficult question, I realize.
Mhm.
But what is a Bible verse that's maybe been on your heart lately?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about Acts 2. I think it's like verses 42 or 43 through 47, like that end little paragraph
Mm,
where it talks about the purpose of the church.
yeah.
And it says at the end that God, added to them daily. And I just think the things that God can do with us when we're being faithful and doing our due diligence as Christ followers, like the ways that God can transform us and
Mm,
transform our community. And um, it shouldn't be too hard to uphold our end of the bargain to, pray and read the scriptures and be in community and share our love and share our resources and be the church.
yes.
That's what I've been really reflecting well with lately.
Yeah, I love that passage. It's somewhat intimidating at times as a pastor when you like hear like, well, look at they're doing all this and people are just flocking to them and you feel like, I don't know that I have ever experienced people flocking daily, adding, but that idea that I love the beautiful picture of this is what church life is meant to look like, of really living life together and knowing one another and sharing in these experiences together. And I think when we do that well, that's when the church uh,
Mm-hmm.
is the church. Um,
Yeah, and
and
I guess it doesn't even have to be like people added. It can just be value added or
right,
faith added or
yeah,
something for your own discipleship walk, right? It doesn't have to
right,
be people
right,
coming into church.
right. No, I love that. What would you say, like, what are the parts of ministry that really give you life that like you love doing that are your strengths that make you happy at the end of the day?
Yeah, I love having like rich, deep theological conversation. I
Mm.
love small groups when we're really getting into like nitty gritty, teasing out things where my brain is like expanding and retracting and being pushed. And I think that's where a lot of our like faith is developed. I feel is in these
Mhm.
conversations of small groups where we can feel comfortable in a place of trust and yeah.
I would agree. I would say probably the same answer, actually, that those are my favorite things as well, are classes and times where I really get to engage with people and I learn so much from the conversation I think that there's just such a value to hearing other people processing and other people what they're seeing and what they're making sense of. And it adds so much to my own faith life as well. And those are my favorite times. I love worship as well. Um, and I've come to love Vacation Bible School, which did not used to be the case. I used to early on in ministry, before I had kids, avoid VBS like the plague because kids intimidated me and it was a lot of energy and I'm deeply introverted. And I was like, I can't handle that right now. But now that I have my own kids and I've been involved with it here and in my last appointment, I've come to really love all of that engagement and fun. So we're gearing up to do VBS at the end of the month here. And so I have that on the brain right now, but
Yeah, yeah.
one of my favorite things. And we've been doing VBS worship in the park. So we do VBS Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I've been having worship in the park, and we invite the churches that we do VBS with to join us. And um, I always think that's pretty fun. But again, I want to, whenever we can, to center the kids and have opportunities for them to be sharing. And VBS is a natural one for me. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
all right, this is a really tough question. It's not tough, but it's important. What are your feelings on egg salad sandwiches?
Pass.
All right. Obviously, I hope you've like figured out I don't eat mustard. I also don't eat mayonnaise. And so I
Yeah.
do not
Oh,
eat egg salad sandwiches. I
yeah.
will tell you, and I hope that people who are watching this will vouch that I've said this publicly, that what I understand is that our church has the best egg salad sandwiches around,
Good.
that
Okay.
they serve at funerals. But I wanted to ask the question so I could prep the ladies early. Pastor Valerie is also going to pass on the egg salad. We do other types of sandwiches as well, but that just means it'll be more for everyone else.
I'm
Uh,
so sorry. I'm just not an egg person. I don't know.
the egg is the only part of that I would be okay with.
You eat? Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's just those little things that you're like, they the funeral directors love those sandwiches, and they're just really proud of them, and that's a really big thing that people like are so excited for. And I remember the first funeral, and it was a while I was here before I had to do my first funeral, and they were so excited to give me these sandwiches, and I was like, oh no, oh no. So I just wanted to rip that Band-Aid off right away.
You're a good one to follow that if they already like, got it so
Yeah,
far.
I've laid the groundwork there. They're already used to that. So, are there any, do you have any things that are like no-goes as far as, so for me, mayo and mustard are just no-goes. It's not happening. Other than that, I tend to do pretty well, but
Yeah, I'm not too picky, I guess, apart from eggs, I guess. Um, yeah, I guess it's my husband and children who are a little more picky.
Mm.
So, picky in different ways. Yeah.
I do believe that our Care Casseroles team is going to be doing a meal train for you guys when you arrive, but I've heard that they have been working on finding out what your favorite foods are so that you guys will. I don't believe eggs will be on the menu. So,
Thank you.
uh,
If they were, somebody else would eat them. It'll be all right.
um, do you have a favorite book of the Bible?
Oh, I mean, I love Esther, obviously. Um, I like the Book of Acts. I like John, even though it's very like whimsical, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I've just been in John a lot recently with like the lectionary, and
Right.
I just like the imagery that John has. Um, yeah, I'd say those are my top. Genesis is fun, lots of stories. Yeah.
Those, I mean, I don't know that there's a wrong answer. Maybe if you would have said Leviticus, I would have questioned,
Who are you?
how true is that? No, I love the book of Esther is so fascinating, as the only book that doesn't mention God by name, but God permeates the whole story. And it's such a powerful story of courage and, you know, facing things that seem impossible. And yet God makes things possible and uses the people you would never expect. And I mean, if that is not the theme of scripture, I'm not sure what is.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And just God's like, yeah, the whole story, all the stories of scripture, God's
Mhm.
redeeming power, right? In the story of Esther and the story of Christ, all the
Right.
stories in Genesis, God's redeeming power. And that's, yeah.
And I have to say, I'm particular. I love Ruth. Ruth is one of my favorites. But I also had a grandmother named Ruth, so maybe I'm biased in that way. But I love the stories that really lift up the women.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's something that you and I both share as far as women in ministry, and there's something powerful about the Christian movement and what it's done to uplift women's voices. And Jesus really made it possible for us to be who we are and where we are today, right? Um, and a couple weeks ago was the anniversary of the full inclusion and ordination of women in the Methodist Church. So it wasn't the first time women were ordained. There were already women who had been ordained, but they weren't allowed membership in the Methodist Church. And so 70 years ago was the vote that allowed them to be full members of the annual conference and to have things like guaranteed appointment and pension and all the things that go along with uh, kind of a call into ministry in our system. Um, how has your experience been, and what do you think about where women in ministry are in the United Methodist Church right now? Loaded question, but I think just it's been on my mind since we are celebrating that anniversary.
Yeah. I think about this with every called person, regardless of who they are, that God calls that person. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they are, where they've been. God has called that person, and that supersedes what I think. That supersedes what anybody else thinks, right? Because God's voice is more important than anything else. So we are the ones who are, discerning the call for ourselves, potentially for others if we're on different like organization committees and the conference. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. That God's voice and God's call is important, and I think I see that in specifically in the Dakotas. Um, if you look at the churches around the conference, they are served equally by men
Mhm.
and by women, and it is just a beautiful mix of yeah of the image of God, right? Like we are created in the image of God, male and female, and that is what I see
Yeah.
in the churches. I hope that answers your question, but
Absolutely. I mean, the Dakotas have that rich history, right? We have Grace Huck, who was one of the first women to be ordained and to be fully included. And that was in our conference. That was in the South Dakota conference that happened. And we do see more and more. I think I think we're pretty well split when we look at who's serving. If you were to look in our journal as far as a divide between clergy as men and women. Um, and I would say that one of the things I think I've experienced is that I'm much more open to the call story of others because I have been told personally that God couldn't call me into ministry, and I know that God has. And so when I was doing the work on the board, and I know that you've on the district level, you've also been part of that discerning process, and I think that's part of been what's informed my own understanding is a belief and a trusting that if you really truly believe God is calling you, um, I believe that. Like uh, it's not my place to say that God isn't. Now, in those roles, I think there are times where it was my place to say, you still need more equipping
hmm hmm
to be
yeah.
effective and to not, um, but I would never presume to say that God can't use you or that God doesn't want you. And I think a lot of that came out of my own experience within a United Methodist Church when I had expressed my call into ministry, that I had someone come into my office and say, "Good for you. I will never be in a church with a woman pastor, but good for you." And I was like, okay. Like, or having people that, God really didn't call you. This is all you. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think people in their right mind choose to go into ministry if they're not called.
No, I would agree with that. I don't know if you want to leave this next part in or not, but like I've been told so many times in inappropriate times that I am too pretty, too young, and those things are just like, why are you saying this to me right now? And
Right.
so,
I think one, people don't even realize what they're saying half the time. Like, I don't even think they think about what's coming out of their mouth. There's times where I just want to respond with, "Do you know what you just said?" But I think it's a reality that we still face, even 70 years later. I ended up being the first senior pastor that was a female here in Yankton. You are going to be the second. It's not the first time that they had female pastors, but it was the first time that that was the only option, right? And how that, I think people have to wrestle with. You relate to different pastors differently, and especially a young female clergy, which this church is so blessed to have two back to back. Um, uh, People just relate to differently, and that can be a real blessing. But for some people, it's still something they're working through, even 70 years after the church affirmed this inclusion. And I'm so grateful for the people who've come before, like Grace and like the many women who've served in this church, because they've done a lot of that work of helping people to recognize and work through any sort of maybe inherent biases that they might have. But I will say personally, I am super excited that it's another woman that's coming, because um, I think it's a good thing for our church, and I think it's a really good thing for Yankton as well.
yeah.
So, so that's just my 2 cents on that. But like I said, it's been this past Sunday. We were celebrating Heritage Sunday, and I invited the congregation to wear red shoes without telling them why
Mm.
they were going to wear red shoes. And I'm going to see, I would expect you to know the answer to this, but do you know where the tradition of wearing red shoes came from,
Mm.
or what it means? Let's start with what does wearing red shoes mean? Do you know?
I believe it has to do with women ordination.
It does. It
Yes.
does.
Okay. Like inclusive thing.
Mhm.
I assume the red is something with the spirit, or is that, yeah?
I
Okay.
think so. I'm not entirely sure why red was chosen, but I would guess it had to do with the Holy Spirit. The Joel, where the sons and daughters will prophesy, right? But it comes out of like seminary graduations, and especially Georgia Harkness, with the Garrett connection, um, and honoring and recognizing women who study theology and women in ministry and our role. And so you will see at graduations, students wearing red shoes. I don't know if you did that as well.
Yeah, I actually wore my red shoes on Sunday for confirmation. So the red shoes that I wore for graduation at
Yeah.
seminary, I wore on Sunday for our confirmation. Yes.
Yeah, so I wore red shoes at my graduation from Garrett, and I wore red shoes at ordination. Not the
Mhm.
red shoes I wanted to wear because I was
Oh,
7 months pregnant.
I remember that. Yes, because I was commissioned in that service.
Okay. Yeah, I was very I had cankles at that time. It was very miserable that week. And I had beautiful red boots that I had bought to wear for ordination, and I couldn't zip them up. And there was no way I was getting them on or off for the washing of the feet. And so I had to wear my graduation like flats.
Mhm.
And I was just so sad that I couldn't wear the shoes I wanted. But but yeah, so And I love that Heritage Sunday and Pentecost are back to back. So again, this idea of the Spirit moving, and this is one of the ways in our heritage that the Spirit has moved in recognizing the giftings and callings of women, but not just women, but I think, like you said, all people, because we're all called in some way.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so, yeah, well, I am so excited to have you come and to serve and to be the steward the next chapter of this church. I don't think I could leave it in better hands than you. And I'm just really excited for you. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for your girls. I know they're going to find a lot of extra sets of grandparents around. Um, and, and yeah, just many blessings as you transition. You've got about a month, little over a month before you head down here.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And blessings on the packing. Oh my goodness. If you need boxes, call me. I might have a few extra. We'll see.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes. Thank you.
But hopefully Pastor Valerie will officially start July 1st. And then I believe that leadership team is planning a welcome event for her the following Sunday, just because the first Sunday there's, with 4th of July and everything, people are all over the place. But hopefully you get that on your calendar so that you can help to welcome Pastor Valerie and her family as you embark on this new adventure together. So many blessings. All right, I'm going to leave off there. The big thing for announcements is to make sure that you're signed up for Vacation Bible School. And if you're able to help to let Brooklyn know, we do have that coming up the 28th through the 30th with worship on the 31st at Memorial Park at 10 a.m. So we hope that you will join us for that. You need to bring your own chair or place to sit, but we'll have fun with that. Then until next time, God bless. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a video and audio podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. We'd love to have you join us for worship on Sundays at 10 a.m., either in person or via our live stream, which can be found at our website, www.firstumcyankton.org, or by searching First UMC Yankton on YouTube.